Hi, welcome to my Pimp Me Shoot show. Today's guest is the DERYA RIA TM22-A Gen 2. Gen 2 is the alloy receiver with the long handguard, but if you happen to have the short handguard Gen 1, that will also work, but it will not work with the M4 lookalike feather because that one has the polymer receiver. One of the most successful in my series is pimping the GSG16. The top two videos has a combined views of 130,000 hits. Unfortunately, the Liberal government of Canada decided to ban that, along with my other 22 semis back in December, leaving me only with a TM22 to use. So I'm going to try to kick this up, maybe not to the same success I had with the GSG16, and the reason why is the airsoft furniture I was using for the GSG16 was made for the MP5, and the GSG16 was a clone of the MP5, so it basically fits right in. Not so with the TM22. It is nothing like the AR-15, so the airsoft furniture I use for AR-15 will require some mods. So therefore, please note, this is not for novices. Made worse by the YouTube policy that says that I cannot show you step by step how to do the mods. If I did, they would demonetize this video, and I can't afford to have this video demonetized because, as you can see, I need to recoup some of the money I spent. What I can do is tell you verbally what needs to be done, then do it off camera. I can't even install it on camera. Install it off camera and then show you the results. Okay. So let me tell you what you basically need before we begin, what you really need. First, you need to change the grip of the TM22 to an AR grip. Okay, that's a must. You also need a charging handle, Alex's homebrew charging handle. I'll attach a link to my description. Without this, it would not feel like the AR at all. So this and that is a must. The third thing that is a must is a delta ring. Okay, you'll need that. And all the other ones are optional because depends on which of the four pimp you're going to do. Okay, so let me go through the evolution of the AR-15. That's the four pimp I'm going to do. The first pimp I'm going to do is the M16, followed by M16A2, then the M4, ending with the M4 SOCOM. Okay, so I shall be back. I am back. Now, off camera, I decided to remove the buttstock, the long handguard, and the muzzle thread protector. We don't need these parts anymore. And before I went off the air, I said that there are three things that you should do. The first one is get an AR grip. This is a real AR grip, but please note that the screw that comes with it is imperial, so it won't fit the receiver. You have to reuse the screw that held the OEM grip. Okay, that's metric. And the second thing I said that you should get is the Alex's homebrew AR charging handle. Okay, it gives you, it completes the whole look and the feel of this being as close to an AR as possible. All right. Number three, I said you should also get a delta ring. It's aluminum. It's airsoft. It has a sleeve inside, and some has sleeve inside. They all have a spring and a C-clip. You don't need the innards. All you need is this alloy ring. Okay, and I'll tell you what you need to do later. Okay. Before we begin, I want to point out the difference between a pimp and a mod. Hack and mod is basically a mod to the gun. Okay. A pimp is not touching the gun at all. It's just cosmetic, right? So everything I do here today is reversible. Nothing is permanent, okay, because we're not modding the gun. We're just modding the furniture. Those are accessories. Okay. Now the process that I'm going to be following today is for each of the pimp, I'm going to have to do it in 3 stages. Okay, due to YouTube policies, I have to do this in 3 stages. The first stage, I would show you what the accessory looked like, okay, before it's been modded, and then I'll go off the air, and then I do it, and then I come back and show you what it looks like after I modded, and then third, I go off the air again, I come back, installed on the rifle to show you what it looks like completely. Okay, why don't we begin with the first pimp, and to follow the chronological order of the AR-15, it is the M16. This is the one that served in Vietnam. Okay, why don't we start from the back and work our way to the front. The first is this buttstock. It is made by ENC M16A2. It's $13 US, but because it's quite heavy, the shipping probably costs far more than $13, okay? And when I say heavy, it's because of this alloy butt plate. It is quite thick, as you can see. It's a trap door. Here, let me open the trap door for you. You can see it's a pretty thick aluminum. Okay. It has a screw in the bottom here to hold the alloy swivel ring, and it also has a hole here, and it comes with this long rod. Okay. Unfortunately, this rod will not work with what I have in mind. This is a 5mm. I needed a 6mm. Basically, this is the 6mm, and threading pitches by 1, and I need about 100 to 120 millimeter long. Okay, I'll show you later. This plastic is a nice solid. It's hollow, and as you can see, there's some pieces here. Okay, that all needs to be removed. You can use a Dremel or a hand file it in. It doesn't go very deep. This 4 little pieces you see here on the inside is only about maybe 1.5 inches deep, so you need to remove that, otherwise it won't fit over the tube, the commercial tube. Okay, and I've yet to figure out what to do in the front here, but basically it'll go like this. Okay, so that is ENC, $13 US, and I bought this from Airsoft Company in Hong Kong and shipped directly from Hong Kong. Okay, the next thing I need to do is the handguard. And the handguard is from my favorite airsoft company called CYMA. It cost $6 US, and I believe it also came with a handguard front cap. Okay, this one. If not, these aren't expensive. They're about $6 US. But the reason why I bought this because it did come with the cap. And you're wondering why $6? Well, because it's really cheap. There's nothing inside. It's just two hollow plastics. Okay, and that's why it's so cheap. There's no heat shield inside. Nothing. Okay, and now what needs to be done regarding this? Okay, first let me tell you what needs to be done on the Delta ring. The Delta ring, when you first get it, the inside in ID is 35 millimeter. You need to make that bigger into 40 millimeter. 40 millimeter will go over these two over here. Okay, 35 millimeter, it gets stopped right here. So we need to have it go over here. So you need to make that bigger, 40 millimeter, and then it stops right here and it covers this part. Okay, so that's what it looks like. But you also need to remove a little bit, about 1 millimeter, okay, so it doesn't interfere with the top part here. Okay. Now, so what happens, what do you need to do? Well, you don't need to do anything to the front, okay, because the front, the cap fits perfectly. You don't need to do anything there. Now the back, you need to do that. Okay, once a lot of material here, which means, well, it's plastic, it's easy to cut, so you need to remove quite a bit of material on the inside, okay? Leaving a little more of the outside, maybe about 2 millimeter of the outside, and then therefore it should be able to fit. I will show you what it looks like after I'm done, but please note what it looks like now, okay? But I believe you need to file the outside a little bit, not much, but most of the filing has to be done on the inside, okay? The cap nothing has to be done to the cap. Another thing you need is a carrying handle. Unfortunately, there's no such thing as an M16 carrying handle because it was fixed to the receiver, so I have to use an M4 carrying handle. Okay, now to make it look closer to a M16, you might want to get rid of these large screws, okay, and put in smaller screws and then cut off the excess screw that's sticking up. So you might want to do that. But this one is also made by CYMA and it's $15 US. Okay, not include shipping. It's alloy. Front sight block is also by CYMA, $10 US. Now the diameter on inside is a little bit small, so later on I'm going to show you what I did to just make it a little bit bigger, but how to sand it with using a drill. Okay, but it does fit quite nicely into the barrel. Just needs a little bit of filing. And the last thing that needed, doesn't require any mod, is a flash hider. Now if you don't happen to have A1 flash hider, this is an A2 flash hider. If you don't happen to have an A1, the proper one is an A1. A2 will do, and if you happen to have a 3-prong flash hider, that is the early M16 that originally had the 3-prong. So that will also do. Alright, so next thing I'm going to do is do the mod and then come back, show you what I did, and then go off again and install it in the rifle. So I'll be back. Off camera, I did the mod. Let's start with the stock. All you have to do is remove the 4 protrusion that was in here, and actually it was quite easy. Wherever I use a Dremel, and I just clean that out, and whatever I can't reach, it's about 1.5 inches long inside the protrusion. I use basically a hacksaw blade, and I just cut the rest off from here. And then you see this part here, you have to go over the castle nut. Okay, it has to go over the castle nut like this. So I would caution you not to take off too much material. Do a little at a time, like I did here. I took off a little over 1/8 inch. Okay, and then I hand file, and luckily because as it turned out there was a slight angle difference than the front, So don't try to undercut and then hand file the rest till you're perfectly fit. And this piece here, I also had to remove this piece that was sitting over here. That was just hacksawed off, taking that off. So yeah, this, as it turned out, was very, very simple. This has to be done, the front and the 4 protrusion that's in there. Oh, and one more thing is that if you notice, this butt plate is slightly angled in. So therefore, when they drill the hole for up here, it points like this up. Okay, and we need it to go down like this. So therefore, you have to put in a drill here and try to ream the hole downwards instead of pointing upwards. Okay, and this 6mm by 1 pitch, 120mm long is perfect. And this hole is also, this is this OEM tube, and this is exactly M6 by 1. So this fits right in there perfectly. Okay, now let's move on to the carrying handle. As you know, the original had, it's an M4 carrying handle, and it has these humongous nut on the left side, and the M16 carrying handle was built in, so it didn't really need, it was not detachable, so it didn't come with any nut. So I tried to make use smaller ones so it's not so noticeable. Okay, so I replaced these 2 big ones with these 2 smaller ones. Okay, that's what I did. The next thing I did is the handguard, and as you know, it has to go over this part, okay, which is 40mm. Okay, so it has to go over here, and so you have to make this part bigger. And I did file the outside a little bit so it would go into the delta ring better. Okay, so that's basically all I did. Okay, nothing was done to the front, just to the back. See, this is what it looks like now. Remember, it was much thicker, so now it's thinner because now the front, it has a handguard cap. Looks like this. Right, nothing has to be done. This hole happens to be the exact diameter of this hole, the diameter of the barrel. Okay, and please note there is a tiny little hole below the larger hole, and that is so when you stake the front sight block, it will stop this handguard from twisting. Okay. Now, like I said, I cut off this piece here. Okay, this is the rails, and this is where it sits. Now I cut that off, and the whole purpose for this screw and this reel sticking out is that to well, the handguard is free floating, and so therefore it will turn if there wasn't something holding it in, and that's the whole purpose of this screw, is to stop the handguard from turning. Okay, because there's nothing in the front, if you remember. So therefore, when I cut this off, I don't need that, because now I have a front sight block, right, that'll prevent the handguard from turning. And that's why just for appearance wise, I prefer not to have this. It's a much cleaner look, because if I had this in place, I would have to cut the back part of this handguard, and I didn't want to do that. It's kind of ruined the look, so therefore that's why I cut that off. Okay, now as far as the flash hider concerned, nothing has to be done. It is threaded already, 1/2 by 28. So yeah, so that's it. The next thing I'm going to do is assemble this together and show you what it looks like. Oh my God, this turned out terrific. It was better than I expected. Look at this. And the fit was just perfect. The buttstock fitted into around the castle nut perfectly, and it's straight, horizontal. Let me summarize what we have here. This is an M16A2 buttstock. The difference between an A1 is the back plate, which it doesn't matter to me. The A2 is heavier. And of course, the M16 had a built-in carrying handle, so it didn't have that big bulky nut from the M4. Kind of bothered me, so I had it removed. Just 2 screws and 2 nuts, that's it. And believe it or not, this carrying handle is perfectly balanced. Perfect. And if you remember, I cut off the top rail so it wouldn't protrude into the handguard. Otherwise I would have to cut part of the handguard, and I didn't want to do that. Look at that. Looks great, doesn't it? I haven't staked the front side block yet because I have more pimps to do, but basically there's a pin behind the front side block and it holds the handguard straight. And the flash hider, I don't have an A1 birdcage flash hider. This is an A2 birdcage, but it'll do. If I had a 3-prong flash hider, that would also work because that's what the early M16 had. But otherwise, this looks fantastic. And of course, the charging handle just ties it all together. Look at that. Perfect. So next pimp is the M16A2. Basically, all I'm going to do with that one is just change the handguard. I had a different handguard. Otherwise, everything is the same. So I shall be back. Now, before I start with the second pimp, I kind of noticed that doing it in 3 stages, that it takes a lot of time to to do it on and off all the time. And so therefore I've decided that I will split up this video. Instead of having one long one, I'm going to split it up into 2 parts. Okay, so the M16 will stay in the first part, and the M4 will stay in the second part. The M16, I'm using the Gen 2, and the M4, I'm using the Gen 1. Okay, let's begin with the Pimp 2, and the Pimp 2 is the M16A2, and the only difference, the really big difference between the A1 and the A2 is in the handguard. Okay, there's very little difference in the stock, basically in the butt plate. Okay, the shape is still the same, so for my purposes, I'm going to use the A2 buttstock for both the A1 and the A2. But in the handguard, this is the big difference. And the A2 was introduced in 1983, and as you can see, has more ribbing, so it's less likely to slip. And this is the, of course, A1. Now, this is made by Air Force, and I bought that directly from an airsoft company in Hong Kong, and it's only $8. This is only $6, but the $8 did not come with a handguard front cap. This cap came with this So it might be a good idea if you want an extra cap is to buy 2 of these because they're cheap. They're $6 and it comes with a cap. Whereas this one is $8. It does not come with a cap. Even though the handguard is round and the cap is triangular, it does fit, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay. Now, why is it $8? Well, it's because, again, there's no heat shields in it. It's just strictly hollow plastic. That's all it is. And of course, to work it is the same thing. As you can see, this is the A1 handguard. It has to be hollowed out to 40 millimeter, right? And the outside should fit this delta ring this way. Oh, here, should fit this way. Okay. And as you can see, these are in the way. It has to be all cleared out to make so it'll be 40 millimeters going in. Now, I failed to mention earlier what you have to do to the delta ring. This is all you have to do. Just file it the top a little bit, okay, so it would go underneath the carrying handle. Okay, other than that, the front side block, you don't have to do anything to that. It should slide right in without any problem. You don't even have to do any filing. That's basically about it. Now I'm gonna go off the air and I'm gonna ream that out, and then I'll have to come back, show you what I did, and then go off on the air and install it and let you see what it looks like, the M16 A2. I'm done with the A2 handguard. This is what it looks like. Now try to keep the two halves together, they're both identical, together when you are enlarging the inner diameter. And as I mentioned earlier, that let's see, it should fit this way to your delta ring, and the triangle handguard plate or cap will also fit the front, and then it'll be held in place by the front side block. Has a pin and there's a hole in here, so that's once you pin the front side block, it should hold the handguard in place. Now before you start staking this, chances are you will not not easily remove the barrel, so make sure the barrel is nice and tight before you start pinning the front side block. What else? Oh yes, now I have to go off the air and put them all on and show you the final result. Okay, the Pimp 2 is all done. The handguard install, this is what it looks like. Looks fantastic, doesn't it? Yeah, I tend to agree. The stock is solid. This is the A2 stock. I put in a longer magazine. It looks great. The front sight, once it's staked and pinned, it'll hold the handguard. I think this looks great. So don't forget that this is part 1. There'll be part 2 on a separate video. Thank you very much for joining me, and please hit the like and subscribe button.